Hiya, it's Molly from the Reading Hour. I hope things are good where you are. Things have got a little bit on top of me this week, I'm not going to lie. We had a busy weekend for Mother's Day. Had a nice time, but it was rather busy. And then we had 2 very busy days at work, and on the Tuesday got a very poorly toddler who spiked a temperature and has coughed a little lungs up for about 2 nights now. So yeah, I'm knackered. But for that reason, I'm going to be doing my laundry. I thought it'd be quite nice to do my laundry while I'm chatting to you about the books that I read in March and the books that I'm planning to read in April. This video is very casual. I read Middlemarch through March, so that took up 3 weeks of reading time. If you're interested, I have got my Middlemarch review. I'll pop it in the description below, but we're mainly going to be focusing on my delving into Discworld. I'm so pleased about it. Right, come here, laundry. So the first one, Colour of Magic, we are being introduced to Rincewind, okay? So he's kind of the main wizard on the wizard line of books. So he's kind of like a bit of a failed wizard. He's sort of not doing, he's not doing very well, basically. Rincewind meets Twoflower, who's optimistic and quite sweet and maybe a bit silly and gets himself in bother quite a lot. Rincewind has like a sort of companion in the form of a wooden luggage storage box with legs that follows him around loyally and ends up being kind of one of your favourite characters, to be honest. Twoflower has come from the counterweight continent on the Discworld. If you don't know, the Discworld is a big disc that sits on top of the great turtle, space turtle, I think it's called Atuin or something, and there's big elephants that sit on him that hold the Discworld up. Discworld's bonkers. If you don't know, it's bonkers, and that's kind of the whole point. So Twoflower is a tourist that has come from a different part of the Discworld, and Rincewind gets himself sort of caught up in having to keep an eye out and look after Twoflower. Twoflower's very wealthy, so he's attracting the attention of a lot of people in Ankh-Morpork, the city that they're in. And not only is he very wealthy, but he's also an insurance salesman. And Ankh-Morpork gets set on fire for reasons that I'm sure you can work out if he's an insurance salesman. The Colour of Magic is split into like 4 short novellas in the one already very short book. You know, there are strings that connect the 4 stories, but generally they are little standalone stories of their adventures, really. And I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. His imagination knows no bounds. Yet his structure of a novel at this point, very early in his writing, is obviously something that he develops as he goes along. So if you are going to go into them chronologically, just bear that in mind. The Light Fantastic is an immediate continuation of The Colour of Magic, but it kind of has more of a structure like a novel, like a full story. Introduced to some fantastic characters. There's Cohen, who is kind of like a Mickey take of Conan the Barbarian. He's like 80 plus and wiry and has no teeth, and but he's like, you know, a bit of a badass. And there's the librarian that I really loved, who's been turned into an orangutan, and he slips his hands into holding people's hands when he shows them around the library, which I thought was so sweet. Pratchett was really into orangutans. I think didn't he do a couple of documentaries about them or something, or some work or charity work for them? Yeah, you can tell with the librarian. The other bit that I really liked was the trolls. The trolls they live for so long that they end up sort of philosophizing, and they think so deeply and for so long that they kind of lay down and become mountain ranges, and I'm sure you can imagine can eventually be awoken. So cool, like such cool ideas. His problem with these first couple of novels is that he has too many ideas, and he's trying to squish them into, you know, a book that's less than 300 pages. You can tell he's super enthusiastic, super excited about this crazy thing that he's come up with, and he just doesn't quite know what to do with it. So he just sort of throws it into the book. But I don't know, I don't really care. I really liked it, and yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the female characters in Colour of Magic or Light Fantastic. He does sort of skirt around conversations about, you know, that sort of traditional fantasy where a woman might wear like an armoured bikini, and, you know, he's taking the mick out of that. You can tell that he's like wanting to, you know, talk about women in fantasy and female characters in fantasy, but still I did think that they were kind of on the weaker side. There was a lot of talk about certain characters being pert or plump or young or whatever, you know, but I get the impression it's satirical. Even so, I would have liked to have seen maybe a bit of a stronger female character, but I'm looking forward to Equal Rights, because obviously we're getting into the Witches novels. If you don't know, Tiffany Aching as well is such an amazing female character, especially for young girls, and yeah, so I know that he can do it. I'm just waiting for it. I've debated sharing this, but I think I'm going to. So it's going to be the 10. Well, no, we've had the 10-year anniversary of Terry Pratchett's death. Terry Pratchett had early onset Alzheimer's, and he died far too young, in his 60s, I believe, in March 2015. So yeah, we've passed 10 years, and my grandma died of Alzheimer's the year before, in July the year before, and so there's obviously some sort of, you know, I think a lot of people have been touched by Alzheimer's and dementia, haven't they? Whether that's themselves or somebody that they know, or you know, it's so prevalent now. But I do feel this connection, because when my grandma was, you know, getting poorly, but you know, still able to go out shopping and things, she knew that I liked Terry Pratchett when I was little, and she used to go and buy me his books. And I remember Hatful of Sky, she must have bought me that book like about 5 times because of her Alzheimer's. And the thing is with Alzheimer's, it's so sad, it's so unbelievably sad, and so I'm not going to go too much into it, but there are moments of light, and that was one of them for me. And so now when I think about Pratchett, I think about my grandma. Yeah, there's a connection that's been made there in my brain. And now in my work, I've gone on to work with people with progressive neurological conditions, brain injury. You know, I meet people with dementia every day. Pratchett is obviously a lot more than his death and what he died from, but he was very open about his condition. He was very open about his thoughts on assisted dying and things like that. And it, you know, so it's hard to sort of separate that, I think. But yeah, for me, there's a very sort of emotional side for Pratchett for me. He always makes me think of my grandma. So yeah, I'm really enjoying reading these books. It's making me think of her a lot, which is lovely. Right, on to you now. Oh, that one's heavy. I'm still ploughing through Deathly Hallows on audiobook. I'm listening to that while driving around for work and my commute and things. I'm not getting through it as quickly as I kind of thought I would. I think I'm about over halfway through. I like this last one, you know, the stakes are high, they're not in Hogwarts, so it's a really different sort of change of pace of the regular sort of structure of the Harry Potter books. That being said, I'm kind of not super motivated to listen to it, and I don't know if that's me maybe falling out of love with Harry Potter. Obviously J.K. Rowling has sort of ruined it for us all a little bit, hasn't she, which is a shame. But I also wonder if they're just not quite for me anymore as a 28-year-old. I don't know, but I'm not super motivated to listen to it, is what I'm saying. Equally, I don't know if it's because it's an audiobook. I've said before that I don't massively get on with audiobooks, don't know why. So yeah, there's that. I don't know, I'm carrying on with it and listening to it on my drives, and I'm sure I'll finish it at some point. But yeah, so that's been nice, to be honest. It's been nice to listen to that. The light's going on me, we're getting dark in here. Oh. That might be terrible, but you're just gonna have to live with it, I'm sorry. So April, let's talk April. I'm about 100 pages into The Children Act by Ian McEwan. I read Atonement last year. No, I didn't. I read A Term at the beginning of this year. I've done a review on my channel. Loved it. I'm enjoying this just as much. It's about a judge in her late 50s, early 60s. Very, very wrapped up in her work, very successful. And yeah, she's now going to be judging a case where a boy with leukemia desperately needs a blood transfusion, I think, and him and his mother are declining, and the hospital are trying to have it passed that they can do it regardless to save his life. And yeah, it's really good. It's really sort of thought-provoking so far. I'm really enjoying it. In the background, she's got a husband who is fed up with her and his lack of sex, to be quite blunt about it, and sort of how her work has sort of affected her relationship and everything. It's great. I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going. So plans for other books. From my plan for my classics reading this year, I've read Frankenstein off the list, tick, and I've read Middlemarch off the list, tick. I've got so many odd socks. So yeah, what was I saying? I've read Frankenstein, I've read Middlemarch. The next one on my list was Lord of the Rings. I don't know why though. I'm not totally vibing Lord of the Rings. I think it's because I've got Harry Potter in the background and Terry Pratchett in the background. I feel like I might be over fantasying myself. I do love fantasy, but I don't love it that much, you know what I mean? So instead, I think I'm going to jump Lord of the Rings for now, park that, and I think I'm going to read Pride and Prejudice. I'm going to have another go at Pride and Prejudice. I tried it before, Jane Austen, and it really wasn't my bag. I'm going to try it again. I do get a bit like, if I start setting restrictions with my reading, like you are reading this, this and this, when I come round to it, I want to read them less. I don't know what, there's a bit of sort of demand avoidance going on with me. So that's why I don't say TBR. I'd much prefer to say my plans for April. Loose plans. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So far we've got The Children Act by Ian McEwan, tick, and I'm going to move on to Pride and Prejudice at some point. I've also got a couple of library loans. I'm going to do There by Tommy Orange, and I've also got The Memory Police by, oh dear, I forgot the name. The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. I'm going to read her novel as well because I've got those on the library. That being said, nobody else wants them, so I think I can probably hold on to them for a while. I've also got a novel for my book club. Oh gosh, this is where my terrible prep, or lack thereof prep, becomes evident and very apparent. Bear with. Here it is. It's called Here One Moment by Leanne Moriarty. I don't even know what it's about. I think they're all on a plane, loads and loads of characters, different characters on a plane, and I think they learn that it's going to crash or something, like there's a clairvoyant or something. I don't know. This tends to happen with book club. They're not books that I would ever pick, but I appreciate that. I like that it's giving me something different. So yeah, I'm gonna try that one. What else did I have on my classics list? Who remembers? Not me. Silas Marner by George Eliot isn't on my classics, my sort of classics TBR video that I did, but equally I would like to get round to that just so I can solidify my views on George Eliot. I feel so conflicted after Middlemarch. Do you know, I've just thought as well, Equal Rights by Terry Pratchett. Ooh, no, I feel like that's added a spanner in the works. So that's Potter, Pride and Prejudice, There, Children Act, Memory Police, Silas Marner, Equal Rights, Here One Moment. 8 books, that's never going to happen, is it? I think I might be the shittest, most unorganised booktuber going. Anyway, they're the ones I want to read, so wish me luck. Which ones would you absolutely strike off of that list? And don't say Potter, because I'm halfway through it already. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for letting me do my laundry. Here I am, fighting feminism. Doing me laundry. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch up again soon. Bye.